Hi, Melinda. My name is Ellen, and I will be correcting this essay for you today. Very happy to see that you have submitted an essay for correction and that we'll be able to help you prepare for IELTS. So let's take a look at what you've written here. This is about prisoners, ex-prisoners, and if they're the best people to talk to young people about crime. Let's see what you wrote. Several numbers of people who have been incarcerated eventually transformed into the obedient members of society. Although it has been contested by some people, those former wrongdoers are the perfect quintessence to spread the awareness to the youngsters about the hazards of involving a crime. I personally agree, since the youngsters can attain the deeper testimonies and the ex-lawbreaker may be able to grant the youngsters the protection and prevention tips for not being the victims of the crime that she used to be involved. Okay, so you have the right idea here. You've expressed your position, and that's nice and clear. You've expressed an opinion, and you've definitely tried to rephrase the information in the prompt, and so all of that is good, all of that is important, and you've done that. What I'm finding, though, is that in addition to some grammatical mistakes, there are a lot of vocabulary mistakes. So in your effort to really kind of show some variety and to show some, a range of vocabulary, you have made some mistakes, and some of this leads to incoherence. Okay, so not all of this is clear, and it's certainly not as clear as you would want it to be. So let's see if I can kind of try to fix some of this. I don't know if I'll be able to fix all of it. Let me see what I can do here. Because I don't want to change too much of what you wrote. I want to just change the things that are important to change. So we don't say several numbers of people. That's rather awkward. Instead, you could have said there are, well, a lot of people don't really like starting sentences with there are, so let's avoid it. Why don't we do it a little differently? Numerous people who have been incarcerated eventually have transformed into obedient members of society. Although it has been contested by some people, those former wrongdoers are the ideal role models, or are the most appropriate people, okay, to spread awareness to youngsters about the hazards of engaging in crime. Okay. I personally agree, since the youngsters can, attain deeper testimonies. I personally agree, since youngsters can learn in-depth information, and the ex-convict may be able to, I don't know about this grant protection. It's not about protecting and prevention. It's about the dangers of committing a crime, not protection. So you're getting off topic when you do this, okay? That he or she used to be involved in. Okay, you missed that as well. Let's move on. First and foremost, the people who have served their time inside jail, without the, can bring more genuine stories from their personal experiences. These people possess better comprehension of numerous things which cannot be understood by some who always keep their records clean. Okay. In other words, the adolescents will be convinced better of the lesson that comes from the first party, who have experienced all the perilous effects from, you don't convict a crime, no, from committing a crime. Let's try it again. In other words, adolescence will be mm, some of this vocabulary, Melinda, is really it's just creating incoherence. It's not doing what you want it to do. Okay, so you don't mean they will be convinced, and also this when you write in other words like this, it's almost as if you're expressing it in different words. But these two sentences don't do that. It's like they're different meanings. Let me show you what I mean. Here you're saying that the ex-criminals understand things because they lived them. And then here you're saying that adolescents will be convinced by their stories because they are firsthand experience. But that's not in other words. Okay, so this is the wrong linker here. So maybe that's the problem. It's just the linking device. So let me try that one more time. So these people possess better comprehension of numerous things which cannot be understood by those who always keep their records clean. As a result, adolescents will be better convinced. How about this? Will be more persuaded by the it's awkward. First party. They will be, yeah, I guess it will be better persuaded by these first-hand accounts, okay, of people who have experienced all the perilous effects of committing a crime. For instance, according to extensive research, the majority of humans tend to perceive a new theory better when it is backed up by the authentic evidence. Get rid of the. That is why I support the ex-felon to alert all the young people and also inspire them with the importance of being law followers. We don't really say law followers. What we say is law abiding, okay? And not the law abiding, but just the importance of being law abiding or law abiding citizens. Either one of those would have been okay. Okay, let's continue. Another reason why I agree with this notion is also because the former criminals probably understand some useful tips, which mitigate the chance of the youngster being the prey of the nefarious actions. All right, now I see where you're going with this, but I want to remind you that this is not what we want to be talking about here. That's not the point of this, okay? The dangers of committing a crime. So it's not about how to protect yourself from crime, but how to use these firsthand experiences to keep youngsters from engaging in crimes themselves. So an examiner would probably say, well, you know what? You weren't asked about this, so they could consider it off topic. Okay. In any case, let's read it. People who have implicated themselves inside that world, mostly capable, I think you want without the comma, are mostly capable of spotting some of the similar patterns that the other criminals usually apply to their target. For example, usually the cybercrime villains will send some of the phishing emails that they utilize to gain access into their victim's computer. Hence, the ex-criminals would know more how to recognize this type of, I don't know what you mean here, what this means, lurk, and also how to completely protect ourselves from it, maybe as simple as recommending the youngsters to use a particular antivirus program on their devices. Okay, you were good here in terms of vocabulary and grammar, and there were no issues here other than what I mentioned. But like I said, it's not what you're supposed to be talking about. You really should have been talking about the benefits of why they're the best people. Okay? Not even the benefit, that's not true. Why they are the best people to talk to youngsters. All right, let's keep moving on. In conclusion, despite the negativity that the former lawbreakers may have, these people can be our sources to disenchant the young generation to not follow the criminals' paths with their valuable true stories and minimize the likelihood of the young people being the crime's tolls. I don't understand what that means, the crime's tolls. Thus, I find the scheme to forge real conversations, between the former lawbreakers and the young people to be the perfect thing to be done. Okay, fine. All right, so we went into considerable detail with what was right and what was not so right about this paragraph, about this essay, excuse me. You had some nice vocabulary in multiple places, but there were a number of times when it was inaccurate. It was just the wrong word, and it created some incoherence in a couple of places. All right, we already talked about how important it is that this is really not on topic. So I know you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, well, how could I have developed this second paragraph? Well, really for me, the word that is so important in this prompt, and for me, a person who addresses it, I mean, this is definitely reaching into that higher band level territory for task achievement. The best people to talk about crime. All right. So are they in fact the best people? And if they are, or if they're not, who else is also a good person to talk to them about crime? And who might be even better than these ex-prisoners? Okay. So, I mean, that's just something to think about in terms of development. One way that I think is really good to do this is to say, you know what? Yes, I think any sort of crime prevention campaign or measure should include ex-criminals. I also believe that even more important would be showing the victims of these crimes, or maybe have law enforcement talk to teenagers, or, having maybe mental health professionals and social workers talk to youngsters. So, do you understand what I mean? So, you could have then spent a paragraph talking about why these criminals are so great to talk to youngsters, and then spend a paragraph on saying, yeah, they're good, but really, I think these people are actually the best people to talk to youngsters. Okay. Or you could have even said parents are the best people. Like, really, if parents keep close tabs and have open communication with their youngsters, their teens, this is what will truly help um, keep them from committing crimes. Okay, so that would have been a good way to do it. Or maybe you could have found another reason why they're the best people. Maybe what you could have said is that they're the best people to talk to youngsters about the dangers of committing a crime, because not only does it help the youngsters, but it also helps them themselves. The criminals feel like they are giving back to society, like they're changing their lives, like their stories are valuable. Okay, so even outside of the criminal world, their voice can be heard and they can be effective, and it gives them self-esteem, etc., etc. So there were a lot of ways you could have done this, a lot of ways you could have developed a second paragraph around this essay and around this issue. All right, it really just depends on how you want to do it. All right, so Melinda, I hope all of this information is helpful. I hope it gives you, some food for thought and how you can continue preparing for IELTS. I would like to invite you to continue working with us. There'll be a link in the email showing you different options for continuing to work with us, whether that's through essay corrections or in the online course. Take a look at those options and see which one is the best fit for you. And I look forward to seeing more of your work in the future. So lots of luck to you.